Act 2. Scene 2. There is no timeless or ship in stage action or focus to indicate this scene break. Lights, characters, everything continues smoothly. Alecto. Let me show you this decade in a nutshell. You see, you must be aware of the entire picture before we can send you out to live your year. Megara. Wait, this decade is but the child of the one before. Maybe a little background. You see, the 30s were hard. Amelia Earhart appearing through the veil. I don't think it was all that hard, Chrome Megara. Megara bows to the spirit or waves in acknowledgement. Amelia continues, I remember it well. It was exciting. There was a lot of fresh air to breathe, new opportunities, unknown challenges. You liked my planes, Megara, or so you acted. You let me win. Megara lovingly. It's true, Amelia. You were my favorite. I never cut you down. I just lifted you up to me. How are you? Amelia. Flying still. I'm riding out the drifts of fog and cloud with the sea barely visible. I begin climbing above 4,000-foot altitude to swim out of the overcast. Marvelous shapes in white stand out, some trail shimmering veils. The clouds look like icebergs in the distance. I am eternally grateful. I fly in space between myth and reality. Tisiphone. What wisdom do you have for our nymph to help woman's reality? Amelia. Here is a talisman to help you overcome fear. It's called courage. Presents the nymph with a pair of wings. Courage is the prize that life extracts for granting peace. The soul that knows it not knows no release from little things, knows not the livid loneliness of fear, nor mountain heights where bitter joy can hear the sound of wings. How can life grant us boon of living, compensate for dull gray ugliness and pregnant hate, unless we dare the soul's dominion? Each time we make a choice, we pay with courage to behold the resistless day and count it fair. Megara to the nymph. Meet a woman who is truly immortal, holds hands over her head of the nymph, blessing her. Let your year be as winning as Amelia's quest, and your impact on Amelia's on future women's lives. Nymph dances around Amelia, who disappears through the veil as the dancer concludes a circle around her. Oh, where did she go? Megara, she's always close. The veil is thin. Emmeline Pankhurst, off stage. Votes for women! Votes for women! Megara, listen. Emmeline, off stage. Votes for women! Megara, doesn't that sound like Emmeline? Emmeline, coming through the veil, all caught up in her speech, she does not notice the three fates. I became interested in suffrage when I was working as a director of a poorhouse. I was appalled at the conditions of the women. The only food they were given to eat was bread, so hard that old women without teeth could not eat it, and it was thrown to the pigs, making even those poor animals undernourished. Young girls 6 years and up, all suffering from chronic asthma, had only summer frocks to wear in the dead of winter, and it was their job to scrub the dismal stone flooring. They all slept on cold stone slabs. Babies of teenage mothers, often impregnated by their own fathers, were taken away from them. In one case, a young girl was thrown out with her baby, who died of exposure, and she was executed for murder. I realized then, women must have the vote. Oh, good evening, Megara. I was in the middle of a speech. Megara, I'm so glad you were near us. Emmeline, I was near because I felt some sister somewhere was reading my words in shoulder to shoulder, and every time that happens, I get drawn to this planet with irresistible force. Alecto, Emmeline Pankhurst, what wisdom do you have for the nymph of 2020? Emmeline presents feather quill talisman to nymph. My gift to you is the talent of organization. You will kindle leadership in all women. Nymph accepts the gift, dances, absorbing the message. Emmeline fading back through the veil as the nymph continues her dance. Emmeline is listening and calling to her daughters. Christabel, I'm coming up. Sylvia, get the banners. And exits. Alecto to nymph. Fantastic advance. I can already see, touching her face, the lines on your young face, and you were just born. Nymph gravely, but already wise to injustice. Tisiphone, oh, but there is more, and there have been even worse going on. Look, Sojourner Truth appears through the veil, also caught in her speech. Sojourner. But what is all this here talking about? That man over there say that women needs to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best place every way. Nobody ever helped me into carriages and over mud puddles or give me the best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could heed me. And ain't I a woman? I have borne children and see most of them sold off into slavery. And when I cried out with the mother's grief, no one heard. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much as a man and eat as much as a man when I could get it and bear the lash as well, and ain't I a woman? And what intellect got to do with women's rights and niggers' rights? If my cup won't hold but a pint and yours holds a quart, won't you be mean not to let me have a little half measure full? Then that little man in the black says women can't have as much rights as a man cause Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? From God and woman. Man had nothing to do with him. Nymph and face bursts into an applause. Inspired woman, Sojourner Truth. Sojourner, why thank you, child. I'm just testifying against the wickedness of some people here. Tisiphone, what token of your wisdom would you leave with this nymph so she could make next year freer for women? Sojourner takes a small flannel magic bag on a string from around her neck and places it around the neck of the nymph. Agitation of thought is the beginning of wisdom. That's my token to you and the future. Just keep testifying. Nymph received her talisman and dances. Sojourner slips back through the veil. After her exit, the veil begins to billow and the lights in flash. Alecto, look, the veil is agitated. Something is up. Tisiphone, oh, I know. This is the New Year's thought forms of men and their patriarchal religions. They appear every year to create another year of male fantasies come true, for it has been prophesied that the goddess would sleep and allow her sons to usurp her power until they destroy themselves with their own hubris. Nymph, what is hubris? You know, Megara, you know, excessive male pride, but unfortunately, their time is not yet up. It won't be till the Aquarian age, which is not for another 399 years. The veil agitates some more, increasing intensity. You mean the men don't want me? Alecto, certainly not. They need a male baby. That's their secret weapon. They present him to the world for worship, and he creates a Pavlovian reaction in everyone, which renews the patriarchal year. They call it Christmas. Nymph, where do they get it, this male baby? Tisiphone, angrily. They have virgins for slaves. Every year they come to the virgin in chains and demand her yearling. Nymph, Megara, isn't there something we can do to put an end to this? Megara, thinking that the nymph means to kill. Now, Chad, I can't kill him. I know the men fear me and call me child killer, but that's because they need to turn the people against me. The truth is, this hag loves babies. My favorite time is when I can just spend an afternoon with a youngster. Alecto. Oh, she didn't mean that. We all know you are a soft-hearted crone, but just think, it's only 399 years more of this bleary Piscean age, the age of the male child sliding up to Megara. Don't you think we could start dawning a new age, with a few surprises? At first, Megara is uncertain. She's not buying it. The other three join forces to convince her. Tisiphone, surprises, the nymph. Surprises? Megara is persuaded. Oh, I see, surprises. I know it because I know everything. Blackout, end of scene 2.